Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, May the 12th, and here are the headlines for today. Now, between the days of Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll see a trough build over the east, and this will set up the shower and thunderstorm activity that we'll be seeing over the next couple of days. It looks like a good chance of showers and thunderstorms in the states of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio as we move into Tuesday evening. And moderate rainfall likely, let's say, over Pennsylvania and New York as we get into the day Wednesday. Another area we'll be watching is Florida for showers and thunderstorms. And this is really good news as there's been an exceptional drought in the state of Florida for several months now. But if you live in the states of California, Arizona, and New Mexico, you can expect very warm temperatures over the next couple of days, reaching the century mark in Phoenix, Arizona. The good news for many of us is the lack of severe weather this week. However, looking ahead, there is the potential of severe weather as we move into the day Saturday. And this is for portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, where there will be the potential for strong tornadoes. Well, guys, that's it for the headlines. Let's now get into the details. So as we move from the days Tuesday into Wednesday, you'll notice that we have a trough building here over the Midwest into the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. And this, of course, will bring in cooler temperatures and a chance of rain by midweek for these same areas. Now, at the same time, we do have a trough moving on shore here into Washington State and Oregon State, and this will bring cooler temperatures and a chance of rain for you guys in Seattle and also Portland. Now, the warmer temperatures we're seeing over Southern California, Arizona, also into New Mexico and Texas, is due in large part to this ridge that's pushing off to the east into the Great Plains region. And that will actually begin to break down over the next couple of days as the strength of each one of these troughs continues to build. I also want you guys to notice this shortwave trough that begins to build towards the middle portion of the week. You can kind of see this appendage here kind of jut out, let's say, out of the state of California into the Pacific there. And that's going to actually play a major role as we get into the weekend here, come Saturday, for that severe weather potential. Well, guys, looking at the showers and thunderstorms developing during the day Tuesday, and especially Tuesday evening here over Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, and Ohio, some of these isolated storms could drop more than a half an inch of rain, of course. But we'll have steadier rains likely over the states of Pennsylvania and New York as we head into late Tuesday night, Wednesday morning here. Meanwhile, off to the south here, as we get into the state of Florida, you can see some stronger showers and thunderstorms moving on shore. And this is very good news for you guys here because you've been in an exceptional drought here for several months. So any rain here over central Florida in particular is very welcome. Now, as we move into the last couple of frames here, you'll notice the light to moderate rain here over western Oregon, western Washington here, associated with the close low here over Washington State. And again, with the trough moving on shore, that's going to provide the lift and energy that we need for any rainfall activity that we're seeing along the west coast here. Notice that if you live in California and the rest of, let's say, the Intermountain West, you're definitely going to be seeing dry conditions here associated with that ridge positioned just to the east. Now, as we get into Tuesday afternoon, you'll notice the warmth here over the west, and this is ahead of that trough once again, but we're going to have temperatures into the 70s and 80s for a lot of you guys along the west coast here, all the way from Washington State down to the state of California. Of course, as you get into, let's say, the desert region of California, we're going to see over 100 degrees possible for daytime highs here. And the same is true as we get into Phoenix, Arizona, where you see these whites on the map. Temperatures well over 100 degrees here as we get into, let's say, Tuesday afternoon. Now, we will see a cool down as we move forward in time here. We will see those temperatures actually begin to cool with that trough moving on shore and also that shortwave building into Southern California, Southern Arizona as we head towards midweek. That'll begin to cool off temperatures as well. Now, meanwhile, over the east, we can see 60s and 70s extending into the Midwest here, where you see the yellow, also into, let's say, Southern Pennsylvania and New Jersey. But with that trough moving into the Midwest and Northeast by the middle portion of the week, temperatures are going to continue to struggle to get out of the 60s here over New York State and the rest of New England. In fact, many of you guys that live in the northern tier of these states, you're going to probably see temperatures in the 50s for daytime highs. Same thing is true for Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Now, as we go from Wednesday morning into Wednesday afternoon, you can see a couple of lines of showers and thunderstorms that develop here. There could be a particularly strong line of thunderstorms that develops over West Virginia, also western Pennsylvania. And that will likely break down as we head into, let's say, Wednesday night. You can kind of see that line of thunderstorms develop here over Ohio and move into western Virginia before dying out here over central Virginia. Now, what that means is that you'll probably see pretty high rain totals into West Virginia, and then a reformation of this rain and thunderstorm line as we get east of central Virginia, maybe towards the Tidewater. And let's say over central North Carolina towards, let's say, the Outer Banks, it refires. So we could see strong showers and thunderstorms there as we move into, let's say, Wednesday night. But yeah, there's going to be a dry zone here somewhere in central Virginia where you don't pick up as much rain. Maybe somewhere between Charlottesville and Lynchburg. You might see a break in the rainfall here, maybe even towards Richmond. But there could be a dry zone in there where there's not as much rain. And we'll take a look at rainfall totals here in a moment to kind of indicate that. But you can see here over the Northeast, over much of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York State, up into New England, a lot of you guys up here are going to pick up on some beneficial rain as well. We're not going to be seeing severe weather associated with this. So again, this will be welcome rainfall for you guys. Now over the Northwest, you can see where we have the rain and snow even over the high mountains here into the Cascades of Washington State. This continues to move as far east as western Montana. So a lot of you guys will be picking up on this action here, though it will be lighter over Montana. But again, this is all welcome ahead of the summer here to get as much rainfall in these areas. Now, perhaps the bigger story here is from California all the way up into the Dakotas, back through much of the Midwest and the Southeast. You see a large area of dry conditions after Wednesday into, let's say, Thursday morning. So a lot of people will be experiencing dry conditions from Wednesday to Thursday for much of the country. Now, to drive that point home, we're looking at the rainfall totals between Tuesday morning and Thursday morning here. And wherever you see the blues, that's at least a half an inch of rain expected here over portions of West Virginia here into Ohio, Pennsylvania, much of New York State, if not all of New York State, up into the state of Maine here. So we've got a large area of over a half an inch of rain to be expected. And there's going to be an area here in New York State that picks up over an inch of rain over central New York. So basically, downwind of Buffalo, New York will have a chance of heavy rainfall there. Another area to take a look at here is over central North Carolina towards the Outer Banks. There will be a large area here that picks up a half an inch of rain, up to an inch of rain, let's say towards the Tidewater of Virginia. Another area that's going to benefit from the rainfall here is over Florida. And we can see a large area of this dark blue here to light blue, so a half an inch to an inch of rainfall here. And even some of the peak making and onshore indicating maybe an inch and a half of rain in some locations here over the state of Florida. Now, in large part here over the Northwest, we can see mainly light to darker greens here over the lower elevations. And this picks up significantly as you get into the passes here of Washington State and Oregon, where, again, you guys can pick up over an inch of precipitation. But if you live, let's say, in Seattle to Portland, basically a quarter to a half an inch max here for you guys over the next couple of days. Again, in large part, let's say 65% of the country here is going to be dry the next couple of days. Again, you'll have warm conditions probably over Southern California into Arizona into Texas here, where those temperatures, again, over 100 degrees in some places, especially during the day Tuesday. Now, looking at the potential for severe weather Tuesday afternoon, we can see that there's a marginal risk between, let's say, eastern Kansas here into Missouri, through Illinois, perhaps into the city of Chicago, and also the southern portion of Lake Michigan. So we've got a broad area here of a marginal risk, but more than likely we'll see small hail, maybe some damaging winds here. But I would say that there's a very low risk of tornadoes with this event. Notice also, too, over eastern Florida, perhaps just north of Miami here, there's a marginal risk of severe weather. Again, we're talking about very heavy rains here in this region possible. Maybe some small hail. in the state of Florida. Now, the severe weather potential does shift off to the east with that developing low pressure over the Midwest. And we can see it here over the central Appalachians, over eastern Ohio into West Virginia, perhaps even into the western mountains of the state of Virginia, before again that kind of dies out over central Virginia. But we could see a period here between, let's say, Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening where we could see some severe thunderstorms. And the threat here will be mainly damaging winds, maybe small hail here into West Virginia. I also want to mention that there is a potential for severe weather between Glacier National Park and the Tobacco Root Mountains here in Montana. So just be on the lookout for anybody that lives there. Well, guys, after Thursday, we're going to see that trough over the east begin to push off the coast. And as you can imagine, that ridge that was over the west moving into the Great Plains will begin to move, let's say, into portions of the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, and eventually the Mid-Atlantic. And what that means is we'll have warmer temperatures over the south as we move later on in the week. We'll also have, let's say, chances of rain here over the northern Great Plains as we have a very strong trough pushing out of the northwest into the Dakotas as we move into Saturday. You can kind of see that here in the last couple of frames of this animation. The important thing to really point out here is that we have a developing short wave here over the Baja California. That's going to actually phase with this area to the north as we move into the weekend. And what that's going to allow for is an additional lift as we get into the Great Plains during the day Saturday. Now, as we move into the day Saturday, what's going to happen is this area to north is going to phase with the area to the south. We're going to have this large area of troughing here extending down into the central and southern plains. And out ahead of it, right, along the eastern edge of it, we're going to have some severe thunderstorms pop up from, let's say, portions of Kansas through Oklahoma, maybe down into northern portions of Texas here. And one of the things that's going to be in place is not only the troughing that we're seeing here in light blue, but we're going to also have some higher dew points. In fact, dew points will be rising into the middle to upper 60s here over Kansas, into Oklahoma and Texas. Again, that same area that we were just talking about that was going to experience forcing from that troughing feature. Another thing to point out here is that the winds are going to be directly out of the south here over this same region. And just off to the west, winds are going to be out of the west, pushing overhead. And that's going to create wind shear, perhaps some strong low-level wind shear. That's going to be necessary to form tornadoes as we get into Saturday. So again, right now, that looks like that's going to be the biggest day for severe weather this week. In fact, as we look at the Storm Prediction Center, they have a 15% chance over the same region, again from Kansas into Oklahoma, perhaps just north of Dallas here into Texas. Now guys, by midweek, I hope to have out another video, and this will kind of give us an update about the severe thunderstorm threat this weekend, and whether or not that extends into Sunday. Well guys, we'll leave it at that for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like or subscribe as it does help the channel. And of course, if you have any questions about today's video, just leave those in the comments down below. I hope to see you guys Friday for the next video. Bye for now.